Hi guys, welcome back to another video. I thought on today's video I will touch on the travel vlog that I did last week, which is when I was in Morocco. As I promised you guys that I was going to do a vlog about traveling solo in Morocco, Marrakech, as a woman or as a female. So I've had few people that asked me a few questions on my DM. So what I'm going to try and do is to sum up all the questions and try and give you answers while giving you my thought on visiting Marrakech. Yeah. So for those who are new to this channel or who just stumble on this vlog by chance, I've just returned from Marrakech on a solo trip. And I stayed in two different places, including the famous Medina in Riyadh. And I did few excursions, few tours, and I was fine. I actually enjoyed it, and I will highly recommend it. If you are thinking of going to Marrakech all by yourselves because your friends are not coming on board, I will say, pack your suitcase, book your flight, girl, and just go. So yes, to answer the question, is it safe to travel to Marrakech solo as a woman? Definitely, I'll say yes. Not even once while I was in Morocco, Marrakech, I felt like, oh my God, what's going on? I didn't feel insecure. I didn't feel like the men were being pervy. I didn't feel like, people were staring or anything. And the time, obviously, that I went as well, it's their sort of like high season because it wasn't too hot. So a lot of people tend to want to go at that time of the year. It wasn't overly busy, but some places it was. So one thing I will say, obviously, if you packing for Marrakech, just make sure that you packing clothes that are not gonna be, making people kind of like stare at you for the sake of how you dress. Because obviously, Morocco is a sort of like religious. Would that be the word you use? There's a word that I'm after. It is a Muslim country, so obviously they dress a certain way, like covering the shoulders, your legs. But obviously, if you're staying in a hotel, I'm not saying be by the pool and have all your shoulders covered. I'm talking about mainly public areas, like your markets, visiting temples and things like that. Just make sure that you dressed in a very sort of like modest way that's not gonna embarrass you or embarrass the people that are might be passing. In terms of what to do when you're there, I did everything that I wanted to do while I was in Marrakech, and I did not feel that I wasn't safe while doing it. And I was very lucky that the Medina, the Riyadh, in the Medina where I stayed, the gentleman who ran the place was very helpful. He booked everything for me. All I had to do was pay, like at the end. He booked all the tours for me. He was able to get discount. And one of the reasons why you are safe as well is because when you might think, okay, I'm alone, but when they pick you up for the tours, there's other people. There'll be another person traveling by themselves. One of the tours that I went to, there was a guy from Mexico, myself, and a family of five from Manchester. I think the kids were between the ages of 12 and maybe 14, 16. So, they all spoke English, so we were able to chat. And also because French is widely spoken in Marrakech, they are very courteous to people. They will, they were asking us English or French, just to make sure that, they make everybody comfortable during the tours if they're telling you about what's going on and, around the stuff that we were doing. So not even once did I feel like, oh my God, I'm alone, I am not safe. And I'll be lying if I say I did. I did not. Having said that, you know, because I was supposed to go to this trip with a friend who obviously cancelled on me, sort of like last minute, I was very sort of like down, and I had no plans. I just literally decided I'm just gonna go to Morocco and not cancel the trip and lose the money. And so going like that for somebody who normally plans things, it was very frustrating. It was very sort of, it threw me off my game, if I'm gonna put it that way. But I would say it was one of the best holidays that I've ever had, solo or even with friends. So yeah, coming back to the obviously the title of the vlog, you might think in that way that I'm gonna feel like insecure or something like that. Not even once. Like I was very like, I even experienced Marrakech by night time. I went with the local. They are very friendly, the locals. I know a few people when I was like doing a bit of my research before I went. They said that they felt that around the souks, people were kind of like almost forced. They felt forced to buy things, or the people that are selling at the souks, you know, it's like, oh, if you're not gonna buy, don't look or don't take a picture. I did not feel that way. You know, they were recommending that I take a picture, that I post them on social media so more people will come. Honestly, I'll probably saying we like everybody was nice. Everybody was nice. They were around obviously the square. There were those guys that, you know, with the monkeys and the snakes, and they did try, you know, to call you, like they call everybody else, come do this. They didn't like put their hands on me, touch me to, you know, to say, come on, or force me anyhow. But I think also because I was already prepared for them, because the gentleman that I stayed at his Riyadh did say to me, just tell them flat out no if that's not what you want. I didn't want to buy anything in Marrakech. The only thing I wanted to obviously buy, which I did on my first day of arriving there so I wouldn't forget, is my fridge magnet. Oh, and I did buy the healthy tea, which you probably saw on my other vlog, me trying it at the night market for my mother-in-law, because she kind of likes those kind of things. But other than that, I did not buy anything. So I wasn't really interested. It was just me going there, having a look, and, you know, around the souks, around the markets, around the shops. And so in that sense, I was able to say no when they were like, you know, encouraging me to buy or to come and have a look. Going through the markets and the souks, I'm used to such places. Like I've been to places like China, Gonzo, where it's kind of like everything is narrow. I don't want to say dodgy, but you kind of look at the place, you're like, do I really want to go through that narrow lane? I've been to such places. If you are well traveled, you know, things like that, they don't sort of like put you off. But yeah, not even once did I feel uncomfortable. So I will highly recommend it, that obviously if you are planning to travel to Marrakech by yourself because your friends have, you know, decided they don't want to go, or you just want to do it for yourself, go and do it. Another sort of like advice I will give you is make sure you pre-booked everything if you can before you arrive, because they will try and oversell you things, which in my case, I was very lucky that as I've said, the gentleman where I stayed, he kind of like booked everything for me, so he was able to get reasonable prices or local prices for me rather than paying an arm and a leg. For a good example, I wanted to book a tour to go to the Atlas Mountain, and also which go via the Agafay deserts to ride the camels. So when I arrived, they said to me the tour is 45 euros because they work in euros, which is probably about maybe 40 pounds, something like that. 40 pounds, I'll say. And so I said, yeah, that's fine, you know, because I was like, I wanted to do everything. But when I arrived that evening, because I've been out and the tour was going to be the following day, he said to me, oh, by the way, I did tell you 45 euros, but I've managed to get you a cheaper one for 35. euros. I was like, oh, cool. So things like that, if you are staying somewhere where they are able to advise, maybe try and see that if they can, you know, book things for you, or if you pre-book, because then you can get things cheaper, and nobody is going to try and hustle you more money because you are a woman. And you know, all over the world they do tend to do that if they know that you're like a woman, and on top of that you're traveling solo, you might end up paying a little bit more instead of whatever the price is, or the local price. So yeah, and just be safe. Obviously you wouldn't go out at night. I did go out around the night time, you know. I went to the newer side of Morocco, and I went to a bar, I had wine, and there was a live band, but I was with a local tour guide who happened to be the friend of the guy the guy that ran the riad where I stayed, and he kind of offered to show me. So I was like, you know, I'm not gonna say no to that, and he did not want to take my money for it, like, so, which was quite nice, you know. And that's the best thing with the locals, that they will, you know, I wouldn't want to travel and not see what the locals do. For me, that's what makes the holiday. I want to see the culture. I want to see what the, you know, the local club, not clubs, but entertainment areas, like what is it like at night. Those are the things that interest me. So yeah, I hope this video has been really been helpful to answer your question, or if you're worried, you know, if you should, you know, travel to Morocco as a solo or not. So my answer to you is just pack your suitcase, book your flights, and go and have fun. And while you're there, just be vigilant, obviously, and just know if something doesn't feel right, you know it's not right. Trust your guts. So that's how I will end this video. Other than that, I'm gonna see you guys on my next video.